to this story also breaking tonight. The DA's Tania Campbell is ousted as the Ekurhuleni mayor. It took place in a vote of no confidence a short while ago. Our reporter, Govan Whittles, is there. Govan, good evening to you. Of course, no surprise at the result. It seems this has been a plan not only months in the making, but certainly the parties that needed to come together have been singing from the same hymn book.
They have indeed, and when we spoke to the ANC's Gauteng chairperson, Panyaza Lesufi, at 5 p.m., he indicated that they'll move towards establishing a stronger relationship with those minority parties that really helped the ANC get over the line in this motion of no confidence. The EFF abstaining, as it hinted it would do. And then it was because of the PA's decision to support the ANC's motion and these minority parties, they've billed themselves as the Super 7, deciding to support the motion that they got over the line. Let's get brief comment from Bongani Baloyi. He's the Gauteng chairperson for Action SA, part of the coalition. Bongani, Action SA councillors voted against this motion, but you are expecting this kind of result. How are you guys feeling now?
Look, I think it's a tragedy. We feel deeply disappointed but accept an outcome of democracy. I think the multi-party started to do some great work over the past and to stabilize and improve services in the city of Ekurhuleni. And we want to thank Mayor Tania and her team that worked with her and the coalition partners. But unfortunately, we got here as a consequence of not confirming or rather getting the EFF vote. And that we can only put on the DA's doorstep. I mean, we could have achieved this, protected the city and defended the gains that we had made. But unfortunately, the spat between the DA and the EFF got us to this position.
Looks like the coalition is unraveling. These comments about the DA sure to hurt the relationships even more.
Look, I think in Ekurhuleni, as we stand, there's no longer a coalition. There's opposition parties which need to speak and determine what they need to do and how best to respond. As Action SA, we're going to definitely go towards the drawing board and to think deeply about the role that we're going to play in the vote of the new mayor next week sometime. But I think we're deeply disappointed. This is a tragedy. I think the residents of Ekurhuleni deserve better.
Thank you so much. All right, I'll try to bring in Solim Samanga here. He's just standing on the side. Soli, Bongani Baloyi is just saying you could have saved the Ekurhuleni, and he's putting it down to the DA's spat with the EFF, the reason why you lost it. What do you think?
Well, first of all, we have stuck to our principles. There are principles that we've set to our voters, that we've set to the voters of South Africa. They said the same principles, but, it looks like they changed. And we've said we don't want to be in government by all means necessary, even if it means that we compromise on the principles that we have said to our voters that we are not going to compromise on. How do we then begin to then engage and vote with a party that is promising to kill a certain race in South Africa? How do we vote for a party that is promising to intensify, lawlessness in terms of land grabs and building of shacks all over, the country? That is something that for the Democratic Alliance is a little bit too far. And this is why we have said that, we will stick to the principles, even if it means that at some point, we will become a little bit hard done in terms of the voting as we have seen here today. But the fact of the matter is we have stuck to our principles, and the Democratic Alliance can be proud to then say, we say to our voters we are going to do one thing, and we stick to that which we said we're going to do.
Just want to reflect on this moment. This just occurred. You guys have lost the mayorship, the Democratic Alliance in Ekurhuleni. Action SA says, well, it's your fault. You should have lobbied the EFF. It appears the war of words between Action SA and the DA is far from over.
Well, look, I mean, the Action SA needs to then be firm on what it wants. Does it want, a coalition that they can have an agreement on and then have a certain number of principles, which include, by the way, the rule of law as being at the center of everything that we do? Or you want to then say, well, we can bend it in order to stay in government, and this is something that they will have to then answer going forward. We have answered it today. Yes, we might have paid the price, but I think I can go back to our voters, in the city and across the province and the country and say, if I'm going to say something to you, best believe that I'm going to stick to it. And you can trust me that when I say something, it will be done.
All right, thank you so much. That's Solim Samanga, leader of the Democratic Alliance in Gauteng. Didn't expect that to happen, but there certainly seems to be some blaming over who's to blame for the multi-party coalition losing governance in the city of Ekurhuleni. Let's throw it back to you for now, but we're on standby to listen to the mayor Tania Campbell, and we'll speak to her as soon as she comes in.